got some problems.
Oh, shit. How do you think they're gonna react when we tell them they can't leave? Look, I know this sounds crazy, but none of you are safe here.
Whoa, what the hell is she talking about? We are all in this thing together.
There are things around here that walk and talk just like us until they walk up to you and rip your guts out. There is no way out.
Oh, thank God we heard the screaming.
You picked a bad spot.
I'm seeing a lot of people pushed to their edge. You ever wonder if maybe that's the point?
What is up, people? What is going on? Welcome back, Big Afford Entertainment, and my homie Brian the Grizzly from the Spoiler Kings. Brian, tell the people where they can find you, sir.
Hey, at 1:30 Spoiler Kings, we're on live Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 9:30. Mondays are now for Last of Us, and then Thursdays and Saturdays we do reviews, we do all the movie stuff, and I'm gonna go see a great movie this past on Thursday. Well, I don't know if it's great, but we'll see if it's a good movie. And I can tell you that I had a whole lot of fun with the account too, and we'll talk about that too.
Absolutely. What up, Walter? What's going on, man? Thank you for popping in. Absolutely. And listen, man, if you guys don't know about the Spoiler Kings, you guys better go and check them out, man. Do some good content over there. So make sure you sub to these guys and, make sure you check it out. It's always a pleasure. Were you talking about the Thunderbolts?
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it by my name, because here's my problem with the Thunderbolts. The people that hate Captain America 4 are going to love the Thunderbolts. So it makes me not love it as much. Like,
yeah, I know. I know.
Good, but I'm
I know.
I almost feel like, fuck you. Like, why should I do it?
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm just gonna go in there to hate it because of people with the backlash of Brave New World. So that's gonna be like, I don't want to see this crap. You know what I mean? They'll walk out there. Oh, this movie was good, but on stream I'll be like, nah, that was garbage, guys. Don't go see Thunderbolts. Don't go see it.
I want you to make less money than Brave New World. That's just what it is.
Because if it doesn't, you're going to hear all of the, we seed you, the woke, blah, 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 blah. And, we already know who the usual suspects on that is. So
100%.
It's funny because when you guys were on Chill, you were talking about one of them, and Chill was like, I haven't been to his channel to see what he had to say about Sinners. They have nothing up on Sinners.
I'm not surprised. I am not Sinners specifically. Of course they don't.
nothing up on there.
They pretend like it doesn't exist. That's what it is.
Facts. You figure they'd be like, another movie where all the white people are bad, and he goes. I thought I was like, you know what? Because when Chill did that, I usually go at him. You know what I mean? So I was gonna look for that video, and I was like, all right, we're gonna do one on this. And there was nothing there, no content. I'm like, you mother effers. Come on, Ryan. I need some content. You got a lot of bad things to say about Sinners. We know you do, right?
It's holding it all in. They probably don't want to even admit anything. Like, I'm pretending like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about Sinners. You know what I mean? But background. Oh, they hating. Trust me.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like 4.8 drop in its second week.
Dude, it's amazing. Like, I think it could do it again.
We could.
I think we're gonna I think they're gonna make $30 million next weekend.
Yeah, it could. I could definitely see that. Thunderbolts comes out. It's gonna kind of take away steam, but also two different genres of movie. You know what I mean? So shouldn't
going through the black community, flowing through the black community, and that's why I'm thinking that the black people are going to go see what's going on. What's all the fuss about?
Yeah. Now, granted, it didn't make like 150, 200 million. So when the movies make that much, you can understand the 50% drop because most of the people seen the movie already, right? But the fact that it's still like usually movies that make that much usually drop even like 15 to 20
to 60%. No, 50 to 60% is normal.
Yeah.
100%. This is the first time I've seen something like this since John Wick 1.
I think there were a few.
John Wick 1 had very little.
Yeah. I believe, and I can't remember the movie, but I think there's a few movies that actually did better in their second week than they did in their first week, right?
That's
but
crazy.
for a horror genre, for an original movie, it's breaking records.
And to be $168 million right now, I'm saying is I see it getting to $200 million week 3.
Yeah. Oh, easy. Oh yeah, easy. It's gonna end with at least maybe $300 to $400 million, right?
I think so too. Yep.
Yeah. It would like to see it do more, but even for the type of movie and the money they spent, that's perfect. You know what I mean?
For that type of movie, for the overall budget with the production and the marketing budget be about $140 million, $145 million, or to make $300 million to double all in money. That's great. That's
because that's what. Okay, so these black directors and these black movies, that's what they pretty much need to do, is make these movies at pretty much low budget and give us a good movie so that it makes a profit. Because even though you'll say, oh, well, it's only 68, but it made a profit. So the more of them that make a profit, the bigger budgets that studios are going to give them. So we got to start slow, right? You got to start slow and then build up to that. And then once we do, because again, I still say Black Panther doing what it did is an anomaly, right? And we'll still make money, but our movies will still make money. But if you keep it low budget and a movie makes $300 million, that's freaking amazing. You know what I mean? So that's amazing.
But it was good quality too, and that's the difference.
Good quality. Yeah. 100%. But I think this is why. Is because, and I know it's a period piece from 1932, I get it, but I think we're also stepping away from the pimps, the hoes, and the hustlers 100%. And all of that stuff. And that's what's gonna really propel black industry.
And the fact that, so yes, you had, as a period piece, you still had Jim Crow, South, and all stuff, but you killed KKK members.
Yeah.
At least that.
Yeah, 100%.
If I could shoot one every day, I would.
So Jordan Peele's next movie, Him, it's a horror football that looks like it's gonna be good. So now
Marlon Wayans is phenomenal. He's a phenomenal actor.
I agree. Now we just need like a Star Wars type of movie. You know what I mean? Man. Something like that. Sci-fi Star Wars all black cast.
Can you imagine if Danny got a Mace Windu story? And Mace Windu went back to his hometown, and it was all black.
And all black people, 100%. 100%.
Amazing. Oh my 100%.
Goodness. And then he's fighting the White Empire, trying to take over his planet. You know what I mean?
And they respect him so much they put him on the council. That's what.
Disney, make it happen, bro. We just gave you a Mace Windu movie. You know,
let's go. Oh, I'll love that.
Oh. If you think Black Panther made money, do that movie good, and that shit's $1 billion movie.
You put Angela Bassett in it. I can tell you the people I want.
And 100%. Angela Bassett would work. Of course, Samuel Jackson. But then you get like a Eldest Hodge in there. You know what I mean? Michael B. Jordan up in there.
Was it Daniel Kaluuya?
Yes. Denzel. Jonathan Majors. Yeah, I know Jonathan Majors, but Jonathan Majors, yes, Jonathan Majors up in there. Oh yeah, people would flock to that, So,
that would be amazing.
Absolutely. But guys, we are here to talk about From Season 2, Episode 7. Brian, what were your thoughts?
Well, there's so much in this episode that kind of gave us a prelude to what season 3 was going to be about. Like, we understood this is what it is because it was penultimate, but you didn't really understand that all the themes from season 3 were in this episode.
Yeah.
Everything they want to talk about was totally in this episode. Everything that happened in season 3 and season 3 came from this episode. And
absolutely.
As I rewatched it, there's things I forgot that happened. Even with Smiley and the monster Smiley, there's stuff that I forgot. And then I had other questions about like the blue bio that came from him. I had questions about it. And then I started to put things together, and we'll talk about that a little later, but it has something to do with the spiders and how they're formed, how these monsters are formed. So I wonder initially, if they didn't have a womb to come out of, how did they become monsters? I got to
That's a
answer.
good question. Oh, I like that. I like that. One thing that I did, and we don't really talk about it much, right? Because again, it's there, but it's passing lines, and that's the trees moving, right?
Yes. 100.
Why are the trees moving? This is the
Mhm.
question I'm curious about, and I'm kind of thinking the man in yellow is there, and I'm gonna go with your theory that he can't go into the town
Mhm.
and the trees are expanding the town to make it a wider distance for the people them in the town.
I always think it's a clock, and you can
Okay.
tell how close you are to whatever you need to get out of by where the trees are, and they go
Mm-hmm.
collapse further and further and further in. And the monsters and
Interesting.
the man in yellow have to kill all these people by the time the clock runs out.
Oh, that's interesting. So you think the trees are moving in?
Oh, I think they're going
Inwards?
out, and the woods are
Outwards.
becoming smaller, and he can't
Oh,
leave
I
the
got you.
woods,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the woods are becoming smaller because they're moving out further out.
Yeah. And he has to kill the people in the town to stop them from. Yeah, that's interesting, right? Because definitely there is a reason why those trees are moving. Like they say it like in like 3 episodes, right?
Mhm.
One in this one, and then 2 in the first season, and never talked about again. So this is something that I promise you will come back around. And this episode reminded me because even when we did the first 2 episodes, like, oh yeah, the trees are moving. But then I'm like, wait, why are the trees moving?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
And
we know.
what did Victor mean by you can't be my friend? As much as we are friends, but you can't be my friend because everyone I love or all my friends die.
Yeah.
Is it that he knows too much? Is it just the obvious that we know what happened, right? Or is it that he knows too much and he's actually part of the monsters and they end up killing all his friends?
Which is interesting because you have to ask yourself, what friends did Victor have?
Exactly. I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like we go back to Victor's history. Now, maybe there were kids there before anything popped off, but from watching like 3 seasons, it seems like they were the only kids there at that point.
His sister and Ethan.
Yeah. That's it. And Victor, you mean Victor?
No, I mean Ethan is Victor's friend. So
yeah, exactly. Right. So that's it. So if you're talking about friends, could it be Julie story walking, coming back, and that's one of the
same
friends
person over and over again. Ooh.
And he thinks Julie is dead, right? He thinks she died. That's why
Every
he
single
never
time he thinks she
recognized it.
did. Oh, I like that. I like it.
And that's why that when she came to the town, he didn't really recognize her because by that time the traumatic, of losing his friend, so-called, is one of those things he put in the back of his mind as well, right? So that's interesting. I'm like, you know what? This show is given a little bit of questions that I think that we haven't really discussed. So,
what about Elgin?
Go ahead.
So the whole idea for first, Elgin's chilling in the bath, whatever, chilling in the bathtub, doing what he's doing, and then the music box just appears, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's going around, and the music comes, and then the woman, the kimono lady, holds him under the water and starts to try to drown him. This is where I don't understand Elgin right now, because if someone tried to drown me, I'm not thinking it's an angel. Why would I think an angel is trying to drown me?
Facts, 100%. And that's what I'm saying. So it's like maybe it was like baptism. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
And that's probably the first time he started seeing her as an angel, It's like, no, I wasn't trying to kill you. I was baptizing you because you're supposed to be the one to get people out of there.
In the name of evil, I'm baptizing you.
Pretty much, but he thought it's good, you know what I mean? He's like, no, she's gonna help us. Because I don't think there is one person that saw this scene and actually thought that she was an angel.
Unless you think it's like Lucifer, like a fallen angel that's coming to kill everybody.
Exactly, because I think it's like right after this, everything. Then he tries to talk to it, right? You know what I mean? When he shows up again. So that's showing me that this drowning wasn't exactly what we thought it was. And not to mention the fact that Elgin has had conversations with this thing. We just, you know what I mean? We just haven't seen them.
What if the kimono lady is the ballerina?
Ooh.
Because think about it, once again, the box, whatever the music box, was open and the ballerina was going around. And I think the first thing you see is the ballerina.
Yeah.
And then it turns kimono lady.
That's interesting because you know what? I think the kimono lady only showed up once the music box started playing.
Exactly.
You know? And
it was open, the music was playing, and then once the music stopped, it became the kimono lady.
Oh yeah. No, I know that, but I'm saying like before like season 1, there was no music, nothing, kimono lady. Then this one, the music started popping in things, people started seeing things. So that's why, again, the reference to music is large in this because it goes back to season 3 with the music that played to get the man in yellow.
Exactly.
So when you're watching the series, you can see that a lot of the music that represents, and again, we're talking about music and sinners with music, and now this with music, you know what I mean? So it's like music is a big part of the show, and I think maybe it's gonna be a tune that will help destroy the man in yellow. I don't know.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
Right.
That's something that you do that's more of a happy music or something to that effect that makes him like hold his hand and drives him away.
Yeah, exactly. Or not even maybe, because we always said what could kill the man in yellow, right? We're like, oh, maybe they get a weapon. Maybe it's not a weapon. Maybe it's music. Maybe there's a tune that weakens him, right? Because we have those bottles in there. There's a bunch of bottles that keep repeating themselves. What if there's another song hidden in some of those bottles?
I like that. So you always wonder, like, why would they play that music in those notes in the bottles?
Yeah.
Maybe if they put it in a different way or play it backwards,
yeah,
it does something different. Maybe it traps him.
Exactly. Right, exactly. Because again, there's a lot of music references in this, and it makes sense that because I was like, I get it. Boyd came, he found the talisman. It's not impossible that they find a weapon that could kill him, but it seems to me like they already have a weapon, right? Music boxes in the town be singing shit that happens like going on, celebration when the mom dies, it's been trolling with music, right? So it's possible that there is a tune that's going to weaken him, and then you're going to be able to kill him.
What if you wound the music box the opposite way and played it like opposite, like those old records. The opposite way, and you all of a sudden you hear devil music, whatever. Well, if you go the opposite way, and all of a sudden it hurts everybody, it drives away everybody.
That makes sense. I like that.
Okay, I want you to stick with me on this one. Okay, so this,
go ahead.
A little bit. So we saw Kristi. She's going through the autopsy, right? And she's stabbing the body, and all this yellow bile comes up, right? All this stuff, right? That really, to me, looked very much like poison. Okay. So I started to think, okay, so we're talking about evil, right? The other evils in the forest. Well, we go back to Boyd. He went in the forest, right? And he saw those webs, spider webs, right? And all those spiders. And then I thought, okay, poison, all these spiders, the evil in the forest. Is it possible that the way you make the monsters are, you take a human being, they wrap them up in their web, like a sarcophagus. They web like that you would do with an ant or any bug in their web. Do that, and then the spider comes down and injects a poison into them.
Ooh,
and like like a caterpillar becomes a butterfly and all that stuff, like kind of like that. It'll be like the human being now comes back out and is now a monster, and that's how they all become the monsters, and that's how they made them monsters. And it's the evil entity in the forest, because they couldn't just be born like we saw Smiley at the end of episode 3. I mean season 3.
Right.
That's not how they came. So there had to be a different way to create these monsters. And I wonder if you kill the spider, will you kill the monsters?
That's interesting too, because it makes sense, right? Because we're thinking, okay, so they made this deal with the demon, the man in yellow demon, whatever, to get eternal life. And it's not like Oh, they just turned eternal. You're right. Maybe there was that cocoon with the spider. They were injected, and that's why it dried out their insides. And the only thing left was that poison that's left inside.
And that's what the worms did. They dried it all out, and it forced the poison out.
Oh, I like
and that's
that.
how they died.
I like that. I like that. The only thing I have is because, and it could be anything. It could have dried up. So because I remember Boyd did put it on a bullet, right? Which we'll see in I think it's like one of those other episodes coming up.
The next episode,
the next episode. Yeah, and he shoots a couple of them, right? And nothing happens. So I'm
exactly,
like,
it would happen, right? Because it's just the poison that makes them the monster.
Yeah.
Now, what if you shot another person?
And it turned them into a monster. Oh, that would be interesting.
Poisoned them or something to that effect. And we realize their insides are poison. And that's what turned them into a monster.
I like that. Because something would have to dry out their insides like that, right? You know what I mean? So that's good.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, oh man, could this be the birth of a monster? And they told us that you should know everything by now. That would be a good way to make the monsters be important, and a good way to actually get them started. This is how they became monsters. They went to the forest, the entity came in and put them in a cocoon, and next thing you know, they put the poison inside them, and they became these monsters. Dried up the insides and gave eternal life.
I like that, because then it would show you that there's more menacing things out there, right? And even the creatures, don't mess with what else is in the forest. And we already know that there's something in the forest. We're still getting a huge spider, guys. I'm sure of it. We're getting a huge spider.
You see, when you go through a faraway tree and you can get to those spiders again, because is it possible you go through a faraway tree, you go to this place, where these spiders are, and that's what ends you. And why do they call you in? How do they call you in? With the thing you want most. How do they call Boyd in? What did he want most? His wife.
Yeah.
And it drew him in.
And now that you say that, his wife was in a cocoon, right? And I guess she was dead and it was a vision, but that could be definitely a sign of how they become monsters.
Yep. And they showed it to us, and we just didn't realize it.
Yeah. That's good. Oh, that is good. Because again, guys, like we say this all the time, nothing in this show is by accident. You know what I mean? They don't show us things just to show us things. Usually those things that they show us lead back to something. Obviously there's a few things that they probably trolled us with, like the capturing one of the creatures. I think they trolled us with that. You know what I mean? But other than that, like when you see certain things, when they're trying to do certain things, it's gonna come back to it.
I mean, and they talk about process all the time. What's the process to get these monsters to become monsters? Well, maybe we just uncover the entire process of how it works.
Makes sense, right? It would be more than just give your soul and then boom, we turn into monsters. I agree with you. I think the man led them out into the forest, said, come, we're going out here, blah, blah, blah. And that's when the huge spider came out, cocooned them up, and then turned them into the creatures that they are, right? Because usually, and usually if a creature, they die, they turn back to human form. This creature stayed creature form. So we now know that it used to be a human, but it's not a human anymore. It's transformed into something else. And how do you transform something? Butterflies, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's why I thought the opposite of butterfly. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's tight. Oh my God, that's tight. Yeah, we be definitely coming up with some theories, guys, boy. And you know what? It's not like you sit here and you say, nah, that don't make sense. At this point, there are a lot of things that we've talked about where I think it's all feasible. Will it happen? Maybe not. But a lot of it is definitely feasible.
But the more you start to understand this world that they built, you understand the rules, that helps you come up with these ideas. This could be this thing. They've shown me this. What is this? Why did they show this to me? Unless it comes up later.
Absolutely. 100%. And we got that hint with Martin and the rope. You know what I mean? They ended up coming back to that.
Oh man, I see you. I see you. Yeah, a little strong. Huh? I got you.
Yeah, that one had me coughing right there. Whoa. What else did you got?
So I was wondering why we saw so many visions this episode. There's a lot of visions.
Agreed.
Once again, we saw a lot with Elgin. We saw Marielle. And Marielle's specific vision was interesting in itself. So she sees Smiley walking around. And so I was wondering,
I know you're going.
Well, I thought this was a vision that's telling her the future. Honestly,
Smiley's rebirth.
This was showing us once again. I said everything in this episode told us about season 3, and she had a vision of him being reborn.
Yes, because he was dead. He's not on the table, and then he's standing up, walking towards her. Yes, she had a vision of his rebirth.
Yep,
that is good. That is good. And I didn't even think about that until you just mentioned it. When I was watching it, I didn't even think about that. But now that you mentioned it, I'm like, oh, frick. Like right as you said, you know, the Smiley, I was like, the vision, I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you triggered that one in me, Brian.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing. I thought, I was like, wow. You know, are they showing us everything? Did this episode literally, do I have to look at something else that's going to tell us something more about what's going to happen in season 4? Maybe when we go through season 3, there will be an episode that tells everything we need to know about season 4.
Facts. There probably is. You know what I mean? Something, because even this, like I said, until you mentioned it, I just brushed it off as her having another one of those, you know, visions. But then when you said it, I'm like, oh yeah, Smiley's back. That's definitely a vision of Smiley's rebirth. I see that 100%. So,
well, here's another thing. If we're going to talk about that, then we're going to talk about what happened. What's the biggest part of season 3? Jade and Tabitha, right? Once again, so Jade and Tabitha, you know, out there trying to figure out how to make boobs, and all of a sudden they're sharing all this information and getting close again. And I think this was another thing to show us that they're going to get close, and it's going to be harmful to everybody else.
Ooh, that's good too. I like that. And he's like, Jade was like, oh, I like you better when you're not yelling at me. You know what I mean? So they definitely had a moment in here. Yeah. I hope they don't do that, because that'll piss me off.
But you said she had an argument with Jim because Jim was like, why the fuck you gonna let these kids go wherever the hell you want, right? And so she's arguing with Jim, and then first thing she does, she gets closer to Jade.
Yeah.
And that tells us everything about season 3 again. In this episode, you know, she pushes away Jim. Here's Jade, and now Jim dies. What are we gonna get in season 4 because of it?
And you know what? You see, because you say that, it pisses me off about Tabitha even more, because there's a part in this episode. You have kids, I have kids, right? If a parent says they're not going, you don't question that parent. That's
especially
it.
in front of the freaking kid.
You know what I mean?
Never do that.
No, exactly. You go back talk about
in my mind, if my wife says something I don't agree with, I'll be like, man, I don't want to talk about this, but we'll talk about this later. As of right now, you're gonna do what she says because she's mommy.
Yeah, 100%. You know what I mean? And then maybe you have a conversation later and you try to convince her, like, you know what, maybe we should blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? That's like, oh, okay. But
we're united in front of the kids, man.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I said it to many times. Well, your mom said no, but you said yes, daddy. Well, yeah, but your mom said no. So we're going to go with what your mom said. You know what I mean? And she'll do the same with me. That's, hey, your dad said no, so it's not happening. So, and that's how it should be. But Tabitha, of course, being who she is, you know what I mean, was like, oh, no, wow. Like, oh, man, you don't do that. So
I'm
now
gonna go back in there with my kids. I was like, oh, you know they're your kids now? You know now?
Exactly. Which also makes me think that there's definitely a possibility that they may make us hate Tabitha like we did with Jim. Because I know if Tabitha and Jade, I know, oh, they're reincarnated, they were meant to be. But if they get together, that's going to make people hate Tabitha. Oh, you never cared about Jim at all. You know what I mean? So Yeah. Ooh.
She's a toxic person, and she's looking for toxicity. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I like that. I definitely like that.
What if I don't like what he said, but what if Jim was right
About
the experiment? Not necessarily as the government doing experiments, but that it's the monsters doing experiment on them.
Yes. Yes. You know what's funny? Because last week I wanted to say that. Last week I was talking about that because it was like, you know, he's talking about this experiment and people watching it. No, it's not people watching him. It's the higher demon or whatever watching him, right?
And they are experimenting on them and seeing what they can handle, what they can't handle. How far can you push them?
Yes.
This is all an experiment.
And we're going to be doing this so that you can bring that bigger evil into the world, right? So it's not about forcing you to do it. Again, I think everything is about choice. So we have to make them make the choice to do the stuff that they are doing. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I thought about that last week. I was like, yes, it's not an experiment as Jim thinks
the way
it
he's
is.
Saying it, but it is technically an experiment.
Yes, 100%.
That's why you have to kill Jim, because everything that Jim said is right. I bet you that we find out that everything that Jim said ever was right in some way. And everyone kind of blew him off. Hey, we should share all information. Hey, maybe this is an experiment. Hey, all those things. Maybe this story is something about this. Maybe it's all about fear. But everything that Jim said is right. And people hated Jim. And the answer was we should have listened to him. And we should have known that he was the right one.
100%. I agree with you. And I think a lot of the things, especially in season 3, have shown us that. Right? They showed us that when he was like, no, maybe we shouldn't be playing the music here. Right? And he was right. That like they shouldn't have played the music at all, which he said at the beginning. But I agree with you on that one 100%. You know, another thing I wanted to talk about, and I think it does foreshadow something else too, is hold on, let me find it. Right here. They have a little conversation. Right? And she's like, I need you with me. I need you with me. And he's like, not anymore, hinting that Marielle is there. Right? He's like, I love you. And she doesn't really say it back, but you can see that she loves him. This is the foreshadowing of them getting together.
100%.
This is it. Yes.
Because we always know Marielle. Marielle's not long for this. I'm telling you, man. She's not the one. And I wouldn't be surprised. What if we find out that Marielle cheats on Kristi? After all the stuff that's going on, and what if it's Randall?
Ooh, it could be. It could be.
He lives in the same place. Kristi goes off and does something, whatever. Her foot heals. She goes out and saves the day, and then all of a sudden we find out she slept with Randall, and she has to tell Kristi, and Kristi just runs away, and she can't believe the betrayal, and pushes her right towards Kenny.
Yeah, I can see that 100%.
I hope Kenny says "F you, lady."
What's up, Fletch? How you doing, brother?
Fletch, what's up?
What's going on? Good to see you, man. How you doing? Good to see you. And we've been cooking all episode, man. So if you don't get to, you know, go back and watch some of the stuff we said, because yeah, we've been cooking. I think we got a lot of good theories in this episode. That's for damn sure. Right. And again, like we were talking about with the Marielle stuff, right? It makes sense that Kenny is the one to have a happy ending, leaving.
I think so. He's the only one I think that deserves it. And I think that he's because they took everything else away from him. It could be he and Boyd, but Boyd's going to choose to sacrifice himself and push out he loves his son and he loves his surrogate son. That's all it is. Ellis and Kenny.
Absolutely. He said, yesterday was a wild day, brothers. My country went into a blackout.
Ooh,
I was out of water and electricity for effing 13 hours. Wow, shit. Really?
Wow.
Portugal and Spain. Yo, what's going on over there?
What the hell's going on, man? What?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. A blackout. Oof. Yesterday, we had our elections over here, and that was kind of wild, too. I haven't voted in like 20 years, if not longer. And I made sure I did my vote. Right person won. So yeah, I get it. I get it.
At least you got your voice,
in Belgium also affected. Wow. That's crazy.
What is going on? That's nuts.
And it's funny too, because like, you know, when it comes to certain things in other parts of the world, we don't really see everything that's going on. So it's good that we're on the internet. We have people over there to let us know, like a blackout for 13 hours. The country?
I mean, there's no explanation for that. There's no explanation for that.
You know what I mean? The country? Like not a block? The country? What? There was an explosion today in central London at an electrical station. Blackout also. Oh,
wow.
I don't know what's coming, but send prayers to Europe. I'm afraid what's coming. You know, to be honest with you, I think we're all afraid what's coming with this world right now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
especially
absolutely.
you have the war going on in the Russia part, Ukraine and Russia, and dealing with all of that, right? So that's still, you know, Eastern Europe. And now you have all this stuff that's going on in Western Europe. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm not going to say it, that someone else could be in cahoots of doing this, or someone's pushing this onto someone.
100%.
But you know,
100%. Same here, 100%. You know, it's a scary times we're living in. Trust me, man. You know what I mean? It's very scary. You never know what's going to happen day to day. So just make sure you enjoy your life, brother.
Exactly.
Said it was 11 a.m. I was drinking coffee. All of a sudden, boom, blackout. And people were saying that we would only get it back in weeks. People went crazy. Supermarkets got sold out in 1 hour. Wow. Damn.
You know, honestly, I have solar panels just for this, just in case.
You lucky, because not too many people do. You know what I mean?
I'm put my freezer. I'm gonna keep it on my, you know, the food, because that's what you want. You think about the food. So like even those supermarkets and all that stuff, that's what you really are thinking about. All the food being gone, even if you had extra food, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, it was real. You know what I mean? Yeah, because like selling out all the food, the only thing you're really gonna be able to get is like canned goods. You know what I mean? Everything else will go bad.
Water. You need water.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. People went crazy for water. Agreed. At least they didn't go off on toilet paper. You know what I mean? Water makes sense. Toilet paper does not.
You say that, but you know how many boxes of toilet paper I had?
Mother effer, in the world going to, if I got a stinky ass, I got a stinky ass. You know what I mean?
Hey, I'm like, I had enough to make a teepee. Let's go. It's I don't know what it was done for me.
You know what I mean? Long as I got water and a washcloth, I'm good. You know?
Right. Oh man.
Yeah, but man, be safe, definitely. I was waiting for Musk to send some cyber links here. Yeah, man. Right.
I take over. That's what he's gonna do, Elon. Boy.
Hey, just a quick off topic though, because I seen and I don't think I saved the video. You see the Chinese cyber trucks?
100%. They're illegal here. What? They're illegal and they're cheaper and they're amazing.
What?
Do you know they're so cheap?
Facts. Like they living in the future. This dude had a car and he was showing us everything the car does. He was just talking to it. Car was doing all. I was like, what? Yo, what are we doing over here, bro? What are we doing? No, for real. Like
they're investing in China and Japan are investing in things that are going to make them better. And they don't care if you don't want to take it there. You don't have to bring it over there. Yeah.
It's crazy. They have these little sprinklers on their on their streets, you know, that like wets your car tire when it's like slippery and stuff like that to keep it, or what something. I can't remember what it was for, but like they living in the future, bro. They living in the future, bro. In China, they got Wi-Fi 10G. Yeah, for sure. They live in 2050.
Exactly. When everything else goes to hell, China and Japan will be cool.
Absolutely, 100%. And I mean, you look at their buildings, their streets. I get it. It's you don't really want to live there, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like they clean, bro. Their streets are clean. You can't spit on their street. You can't even chew gum in certain places. You know what I mean? Like no homeless people out on the streets.
You don't have to worry about someone shooting you or any of that other stuff. That's illegal. You don't have any of
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had a gun death related death in like 18 years. It's crazy.
I get it. Communists, I get it 100%. But at the same time, I think we could be doing more to fix up our place. You know what I mean? Like let's move into the future too. You know? Fuck.
I think the problem with capitalism, and I like capitalism. The problem with capitalism is there's always got to be someone on the bottom for it to work.
Absolutely. 100%. And
so they allow things to happen because someone has to be on the bottom.
And it's usually us. You know what I mean? It's usually us. We can't let them blacks get up there. No way. You know, at least we got someone to step on. Trust me. The only people worse than us are the natives. You know what I mean? Everybody's stepping on the native Indians. Yeah, yeah. There's like 3 or 4 of them left and shit. You know, so yeah,
it's the worst, man. I had a girlfriend in college that was Choctaw Indian, and she was like, "Yeah, the reservations. You think there's a lot of reservations? There's not.
Oh,
like literally, we're 1/10 of what you have as black people.
Yeah,
1/10
for sure. Yeah, like I talk about we like racism for us all the time, which is bad, but for them, they have a way worse than we do.
You know,
they have a
smallpox was a hell of a drug.
100% gave them alcohol and cigarettes, and it's ruined them all up until today. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. But yeah, guys, we were back to talking about Sorry about that. Just a little service announcement. Hopefully, my boy Fretch is good over there. You know, we praying for you always, brother. And yeah, like I said, man, you know, just enjoy your life right now because we don't know. We don't know. But other than that, what else you got, Brian?
I got a couple other things. So we haven't talked about a mole in a long time.
You
know, and you know, as Randall said, Randall might be crazy, but what if he's right about there's a mole? And we forgot about it. And we see all these people dying and see all these people, you know, not doing well. What if there is a mole that's been in our face the entire time?
I still think there is somebody.
What if the mole?
Victor.
What if the mole's Donna?
Ooh, you saying Donna.
what if Donna is the mole? Because we all love her, right? We all connect with her, right? She ran the house that had nothing to do with all the rules that boy was doing or using. She pushed all the sins, all the 7 deadly sins, all in that one house. What if that was the point? What if Donna is the mole?
Ooh.
And Randall had it right.
You know what? That would be a very good twist. I would like that. You know what I mean? I would definitely like that. So let's break that down a little bit more. So if she's the mole, right? Is she a creature? Is she working with the creature? Is she related to one of them?
She's the mother.
She's the mother.
In the picture, you saw the little boy. You saw his mother. What if she's the mother?
Ooh, that would be interesting. That would be interesting. I know this mole thing, they kind of played it off and then ended it, and you know what I mean? They picked on. But again, if we talk about nothing is purpose or not,
it wasn't
like,
an accident. I mean? So maybe it's something they hope that you forget about, and then we say, wow, all of a sudden there is a mole. And she's been there since the beginning because no one else knows what happened before then. They only know what Donna told them. She's been there the longest.
Oh, that's interesting.
I would like that. Did she even have a sister, or did she steal that from someone else's ideas?
I would like that. You know why I would like that? Because you would see her and Boyd getting close. You would see her like kind of trying to push Boyd to be a certain way. And again, I think when it comes to this town, people have to do things in a certain way. So you would probably need someone in there to kind of give them the little push, right? Yeah, I like that.
I mean, she shot the bus down. What if the bus was something that you could have used to get out of the town, to get everyone out of town once they figured it out?
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just
I
saying,
agree.
she has done some things that you can say, well, she was doing it for the good of everybody else, but she's the one who's telling everyone about the town, inciting fear. What if you got out somehow because at sundown there's a portal or something to that effect, and Donna kept everyone trapped?
And you know what? You just refreshed my memory about something. Donna didn't want to tell anybody about the voice.
Exactly. She said, "Don't say anything."
She didn't want to tell anybody about the voice, and it got to the point to where Tabitha doesn't even really believe he heard
There was
the
a
voice.
voice. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And Boyd brushed it off. Yeah.
I'm just saying. I no, don't get me wrong. I love Donna. I really do. But that would be a great twist. I will love it because I will enjoy that they're that smart that we forgot all about it.
And then not only forgot about it, a lot of us were like, "That makes no sense for there to be a mole. There's no mole." Blah 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, we find out that hey, Donna really was the mole, and it would be someone that you're invested in.
And we see the pictures from the beginning, and I realized that it has to be a mother there because the boy was there. They had a mother. Who could it be? Who could it be?
Yeah. Donna would make the most sense. Donna would definitely make the most sense.
That's one of those things I hope I'm wrong about, because if it does happen, I'm like, damn it. It just made too much sense for me not to say something about it.
No, I definitely like that. I think that would be something. You know, some people be like, "Oh, I can't believe they did that," but I would be like, "Oh, that's interesting." You know, and I believe the writers would do it in a way to where you'd get these flashbacks and it'd be like, "Oh, that's why she did that. Oh, that's why she did that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Trust me. That's good. That's good. What else you got?
That was really my last one. I thought that was probably like besides the whole Kenny thing, because Kenny was arguing about everything. Just anything anyone said, I don't like it. It's a bad idea. Don't do it. Stupid. Bad idea. And what if Kenny was right about the body? What if they didn't take out the bio? Then the body would have actually reanimated.
Yeah, it would definitely make sense, right? Because at the same time, and again, even with the Fatima pregnancy, it happened way too quick. So you know that wasn't the original plan with her being pregnant, and then you could tell that they decided to do that when season 3 came along, right? So it's definitely possible that they had a different plan, right? Or they didn't know how they were going to bring Smiley back.
Two plans and see what was going to happen. Play both sides of the road and see which one will work. But with the whole thing with Fatima being pregnant too, I mean, I still don't know exactly how Kristi, a third-year med student, figured that out. But it is what it is. I'm just saying. I don't know what blood test and what centrifuge she had that she could figure those things out, but
yeah, she figured it out like right away. Oh, you're pregnant, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and then they did the ultrasound, no baby and stuff like that. I think, like you said,
it brings me back to the point where they did the ultrasound, they didn't see a baby. How is that possible? If she was still pregnant with Smiley?
Exactly. And to be honest with you, I thought Kenny was making a lot of sense when he was talking in this episode, right? So it could definitely be a possibility that maybe taking the bio was what ignited it, Interesting. I would say maybe, Fatima got close to it or something, but nah, she was already talking about being pregnant. But again, I think it worked out the way it did, but that probably wasn't the original plan to bring them back. And you're right, the bio stuff seems like it makes a lot of sense.
Do you know why Boyd wanted to hide the monsters from everybody else?
No, I don't. What do
And
you
I
think?
keep on thinking about it, like, why did he not want to tell everybody? I mean, what were they going to do against him?
You know what? Because this town doesn't tell nobody nothing. You know what I mean? They don't talk, and that's the problem. Like I said, and I'd be like, yo, there's like Boyd killed not only you tell people that Boyd killed one of them, he's a god now. You know what I mean? There's no
Listen, whatever
questioning
you say,
anything.
Boyd.
100%. Oh, you killed one? What? Now you may not like the way it was done with the snakes in his skin, but you know what I mean? At least they killed one. So yeah, I agree with you. It has nothing to do with protecting the town, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know what I mean, it would be more advantageous for the town to know a lot of these things. Maybe not everybody, but like you said, at least a council meeting, like Donna doesn't know right now. Like she has no clue what's going on. You know what I mean? So
I thought that Boyd doesn't trust everyone in town.
ooh, I think there's a few people he trusts, but I agree with you. I don't think he trusts everybody.
All the people that he trusted are right there.
Yeah. And because remember, it took him and Donna a long time. Like the beginning, the first half season, they weren't really. I know they got closer to the beginning of the season. I think season 3 is where they're the closest, right? So this could be the kind of, because even when they had a few arguments, he didn't tell her nothing, and she kind of, you know what I mean? So yeah,
and she always told him what he needed to hear, regardless if he liked it or not. He was the one who was like, he expected to hear that raw truthfulness.
Yeah,
and she always gave him.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely can see that. I could definitely see that. Other than that, I don't think there is really much more else on this. Let me see. Yeah, from what I think we discussed everything. I think we kind of found a few things, Now Donna being happy about the pregnancy. Well, yeah, we don't know about that one.
Is it interesting that she was in the garden where she's eating all the nasty vegetables and all that stuff? All the
foreshadowing Fatima coming in there. You know what I mean? I swear, some of the theories, because I remember I was like, oh man, with this looks like maybe Fatima is the kimono lady.
Yep.
Like we had so many theories about that, and I was like, that was interesting. And then none of it panned out yet, but we still got a season to go, maybe 2. So definitely think that there'll be a lot of things that we talked about will come back. And you know what's good? All this stuff is on YouTube. So whenever it happens, we can always go back and say, yeah. No, I'm not going to be going back to which episode it took us to look at it, but I'll be like, if I have to, I will. But now we got a few episodes over there, and I'd have to watch every single one to remember which episode we did it in. But at least we know that
I'm going to have a short of saying we were right, and they have like this a minute and a half of us saying all the right stuff, and then showing it happened. That's all.
Yes, facts, 100%. And again, some stuff will be wrong, some stuff will be right. But I definitely think that we've definitely come up with a lot of good theories. Yeah.
That's the point, to enjoy the idea of going back and forth and figuring these things out and putting these things out and seeing if it's 6 against the wall, or even this, what if it comes true later? We don't know it's true now, but all of a sudden later we find out it is true.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? And then we'll also be able to tell, like, if one of our theories was kind of right, but they changed it so that it would be, you know what I mean? Because I don't care what you want to say. I'm 100% sure they're watching a lot of these from streams and stuff, like, especially the people that do the interviews, right? I guarantee you they're watching that. Studios and uppers are watching that. They watch E-Man with Harold and all of that stuff. And a lot of the stuff that people are talking about, he asked him, well, not all of it, but he asked a few things, right? Writers and directors like, oh, they got that. Okay, we're gonna have to change that one.
Put a line through that one. And do something else.
yeah, absolutely. That's what I think. But Brian, tell the people where they can find you one last time, sir.
And you can find me here on Tuesdays. You can find me on Spoiler Kings on Mondays and Thursdays and Saturdays. Mondays we're doing Last of Us. Thursdays and Saturdays we're just doing all the movies and TV shows that are coming out. There's a lot of stuff with that. As I said, Thunderbolts comes out Thursday. I'm going to go see that early. I already saw The Count 2. We're going to talk about that and break those things down. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Make sure to check that out. I will also be seeing The Accounting on Thursday. I'm not sure what time, though. It'll probably be at 7. So depending on how long the movie is, I don't know what time I'll be back. We'll see. But yeah, definitely make sure to check them out because these guys were always doing their breakdowns, and they did a trailer one night. I was like, oh, I didn't even know there was a trailer for this out yet. So, they're always on top of things, guys. Tomorrow night, we will be here with the OOC. We got a lot to discuss about over there. It's going to be very interesting. Friday, there might be a tournament. I'm not 100% sure about that. But then on Sunday, I will be doing the watch party for The Last of Us again.
I will be there.
Yes. And JG Shaolin said he'll be there too as well. So we'll have 3 of us, and maybe we'll have a little discussion at the end. Not too long because we like to do the breakdown the night after. So guys, make sure to check that out. And I appreciate everybody that comes in here and hangs out with us. It's always a pleasure. And we will see you on the next one. Peace.
Got some problems.
Oh, shit. How do you think they're gonna react when we tell them they can't leave? Look, I know this sounds crazy, but none of you are safe here.
Whoa, what the hell is she talking about? We are all in this thing together.
There are things around here that walk and talk just like us until they walk up to you and rip your guts out. There is no way out.
Oh, thank God we heard the screaming.
You picked a bad spot.
I'm seeing a lot of people pushed to their edge. You ever wonder if maybe that's the point?